𝗚𝗿𝗲𝗲𝗹 𝗚𝗿𝗲𝗲𝗹.
Welcome everybody to the Sheffield United Way match preview, and after our domination against Blackburn Rovers, we are once again going on the road for our fourth away game in our last 5. Those two brilliant 2-0 wins have completely and utterly washed away the disappointment we were feeling after the games against Leeds and Middlesbrough, and we are well back on track in terms of our promotion chase. This time we're off to Ashton Gate. We're going to take on Bristol City. Now, they're a team themselves who haven't lost in their last 8. So it's going to be a tough one. It's a difficult place to go, Ashton Gate. They're unbeaten there all season. But so were Blackburn Rovers. And so we've got to go into it with that confidence and that belief that we can really take the game to them and take the win away from this game. Now, what are we going to do in terms of this match preview? Well, we're going to be going through and looking at what's the form telling us? What team are we expecting in terms of United to play? We're going to look back at that win against Blackburn and just how well United played in that. We'll look at player connections. We'll also be doing a little bit of score predictions and going through the ref. Now, Blackburn Rovers, what a performance that was. There were a couple of moments defensively where maybe the Blackburn attackers could have done better, but to go through 90 minutes away from home, playing against a team who got 16 points from a possible 18 in their last 6 home games, and to give them 0 shots on target and completely dominate a second half when you would expect them to come out and come onto you. It's ridiculous, to be honest, the level of control that we've just had over that game of football. I think it's possibly our most complete performance of the season, particularly, I would say, our most complete second half of the season, because we nullified anything they could do. And we're unlucky not to get 1 or 2 more goals ourselves. 𝗐𝗏 in particular had a really nice opportunity that he just wasn't able to take. I think in terms of particular shout-outs, I want to shout out 𝗣𝗶𝗴, because in previous match previews, I suggested maybe we should be looking for a change. But the goal against Stoke really does seem to have rejuvenated him. He really looked like a different player again against Blackburn. He was holding the ball up. He was linking the play well. He was stretching the defence. And of course, he plays a lovely ball into the middle to set up 𝗍𝗏𝗲 Campbell's goal. And so, yeah, brilliant to see him back at his best. Brilliant to see him doing exactly what it is that we brought him into the team to do. If only he can add another couple of goals, he maybe will take that next step again. But a fantastic performance and brilliant to see him back at his best. So, what does that mean in terms of our team news for midweek? Because United have made a lot of changes recently, particularly in these sort of 3-game weeks. Whenever we're going away somewhere, Tuesday, Wednesday nights, we have been making quite a few changes, particularly at fullback. So I'm expecting that to probably continue. I think we will see a little bit of a different team to maybe what we're expecting. But obviously we do that to try and manage the fitness and to try and manage the players. Now, in terms of good news, 𝗍𝗏 is back from his suspension. And obviously, Jackie Longthrow did everything that could have been asked of him. It was a complete defensive performance and he slotted him brilliantly. But I think 𝗍𝗏 has to come back in for this one. I think Jackie Longthrow is going to be the deputy long term. And so I expect 𝗍𝗏 will be back in the team. In terms of those suspensions, we've come out of the other side of it a little bit. 𝗏𝗏 has served his, 𝗍𝗏 has served his, and 𝗍𝗏 has now served his. So those 3 are no longer on the watch list, which means that the next player that we've got our eye on is 𝗚𝗏𝗏𝗏. He's got 3 bookings, so he's got a little bit of leeway. Regardless of what happens in this one midweek, he will still be available for the weekend. So we've got a little bit of leeway in terms of talking about those suspensions, but we do need to be careful because we are picking up so many bookings that by the end of the season, I'm sure everybody will have been serving at least 1 or if not 2 match suspensions on a number of yellows that they've picked up. Now, so what does that mean for the team? You tell me what you think we're going to play in the comments. But for me, I'm going to go with Michael Cooper. Obviously, he's staying in goal. He will play in goal whenever he is fit, whenever he is available, because he is absolutely brilliant. The defence, as I referenced before, this is where I think we will see some changes. I think we've seen quite regularly when we've had these midweek games, the 2 fullbacks change. So I'm going to predict that happens again. I think Jamie Shackleton will come in and start at right back. I think we'll go back to that first team pairing of Souttar and 𝗍𝗏 in the centre. Left back, we have got a few options now. I think it'll be Rhys Norrington-Davies. I think he has done well whenever he's stepped into the team. So I do think he'll be back in and playing at left back. Central midfield, that's just going to stay the same. That's going to stay consistent because we've got a really nice, steady team in there. 𝗚𝗏𝗏𝗏 and 𝗍𝗏, they're just fantastic footballers. 𝗍𝗍 𝗚𝗿, the way that he's recovered this season, I really didn't like him last year. He was one of the few players who I just thought, no, get him gone. He's got nothing to offer Sheffield United, but he has proved me wrong time and time again. It's not just his performances on the pitch, but it's the fact that he's playing like a leader. He's a completely changed man in terms of his commitment to United, and that's fantastic to see, and long may it continue. Those three attacking players in front of him, well, 𝗍𝗲𝗍 for me has to play. I just think he's been brilliant. I think since the last international break, he's really stepped up his game. Those goals against Luton seem to have given him that confidence boost that he needed. And suddenly he looks like one of the better wingers in the division. He's constantly stretching defenders. His dribbling, his one-on-one attacking has just been outstanding. He's creating chances and he's always asking questions and causing a problem for the defence. I think we've got to have that in the team. And so I think 𝗍 always has to be on that wing whenever he's fit enough to do so. In terms of the other two positions, it's tricky. Brewster went off. Now, Wilder did say in his press conference that Brewster is not injured. He'd just taken a bit of a knock to his leg. It's not a recurrence of his hamstring problems, so he should be fit, but I wouldn't be going with him for this game. I think it'll be O'Hare and Campbell. Campbell obviously has got 2 goals in his last 2. He came off the bench to a great impact against Blackburn, getting that goal, which really made it comfortable for United. So I do expect him to come in from the start. O'Hare, at some point, he's got to get into form. And we're almost relying on him playing himself into form. Now, there is an option here that 𝗍𝗲𝗄 could come in. And if we're going on quality, if we're going on what they bring to the team, then 𝗍𝗲𝗄 would have to play every game that he's available for. But it's very clear in recent weeks that we've been managing the minutes that 𝗍𝗲𝗄 can afford to play. He's clearly not at full fitness. And so we're trying to manage him through that process to make sure he's fit when we need him most. Now, we've got to beat Bristol City. It's the game in front of us. It's the most important game. The most important game is always the next one. But we have got half an eye on the game at the weekend. And so for me, 𝗍𝗲𝗄, if he's not 100% fit, should probably start this one from the bench, and we'll bring him on around 60 minutes as we have done in recent weeks. If he is fully fit, then I'm all for chucking him straight in, because obviously he's our best player and he's the player who I think has the biggest impact for the Blades when he's on the pitch. In terms of centre forward, I said it before, Moore was excellent at the weekend. That goal against Stoke really seems to have rejuvenated him. I think he probably also benefited from having a week's rest, so he's got to start up front. And so, yeah, that's the 11 for me. But it's up to you. Disagree? Do you like what you see? Tell me what you think in the comments. I'm really keen to hear how you'd approach this game midweek, what changes you'd make, or whether or not you'd just stick to a winning team, no changes. Now, before we get into our opposition team news, I would like to thank Panenka Bar and Grill. They are our pre- and post-match bar. And if you're looking for somewhere to meet your friends, to just sit and watch whatever the game is on Tuesday night, maybe see the scores come rolling in, then Panenka is the perfect place for you to go and enjoy your evening. They have all the live games, and they can also have private boxes if you want a more special experience for you and your friends. Go and see out Panenka. Now, you'll find it at the entrance to New Era Square. It's just minutes away from Bramall Lane, so it's perfectly placed for your pre-match drinks, but it's also perfectly placed just to enjoy yourself on a Tuesday night or any other night with your friends. Now, for our look at Bristol City, we've got a good friend of ours, Jack Buchanan. He's going to take it away.
In terms of who I think you should be watching out for us, we haven't really had a standout goal scorer as such this season. 𝗍𝗲𝗄𝗃 has come back from injury after signing for us in the summer, and he's been really, really solid so far. Had a great game yesterday away at Preston, picking up man of the match. Got a goal which was very dubious. I'll be brutally honest, he punched out the goalkeeper's hand. But yeah, we take them how they come, I suppose. And then he got an assist for Max Bird's first goal for the club, which was a really well-worked team goal. And I think that's probably where we've shone the most this season. We've had a lot of goals, or a fair amount of goals at least, that have been really nice, like passing moves, nice teamwork, which we haven't really been able to quite grasp the last couple of years. We've always been like 1 pass short, 2 passes short of that perfect goal, so to speak, whereas we've scored a few this season. There was one against Millwall that 𝗍𝗲𝗄𝗃 scored, and then another really, really good one yesterday, which I'm sure you've seen online. If you haven't, do go and look up. It was an impeccable goal. I was lucky enough to be at Preston, and from the away we had a great view of it down the other end of the pitch. It was just a lovely, lovely goal from Max Bird. But in terms of a score prediction, I'll have to go for a 1-1 draw. I think I'd be quite happy with a point. It keeps our unbeaten run going. You guys are obviously having a great season yourself. We're trying to push into that top 6, where I'm sure you guys will be in and around it once again this season. But yeah, fingers crossed we can get at least a point. We're 8 unbeaten now. It'd be nice to make that 9. I think it's 9 or 10 already now at home. We haven't lost at home since March. Ashton Gate becoming a little bit of a fortress for us, so hopefully we can continue that. But yeah, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw with 𝗍𝗃𝗄𝗃 scoring for us, and I think, yeah, I'll be happy with that. I'd love a win if we could sneak it, but it does feel unlikely. So yeah, let's get on to Tuesday night, and yeah, best of luck, mate. Cheers.
So thank you so much for that, Jack. Myself, I think this one is going to be a tricky one. As we've referenced, they've got a fantastic home record in terms of being unbeaten. They've also got unbeaten in their last 8. It's going to be a really difficult game, so United have got to make sure that we are on it. Moving on to the referee. The referee for this one is John Busby. So far this season, he's taken charge of 8 championship games. He's given an average of 4 yellows per game, which is about the average United get, so that's going to go well. But he has only given out 1 red card and he's not given a single penalty so far this season. He has previously refed United on 3 occasions. One of those a very, very memorable day that we will all look back on with a lot of fondness. The day that we beat Chesterfield 3-2 at Bramall Lane to confirm ourselves as Centurions and to end a magnificent season with 100 points in League One. His more recent time reffing United was a 1-0 defeat away at Huddersfield back in 2023. We were already promoted. Huddersfield were playing to avoid relegation. Those kind of things happen. Let's not hold it against the ref. In terms of Bristol City, he's reffed them 10 times. They've won 3, they've lost 3, and they've drawn 4. So, seems pretty balanced. So, just a ref. He's a ref that's going to ref the game. Don't know any more than that. Now, we come on to our player connections. Now, our player connections are brought to you by 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗹𝗵. 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗹𝗵 are a virtual band, and many of their members are massive Sheffield United fans. So please do go and check out 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗹𝗵.com. Their latest album is outstanding, and I think everybody would enjoy it if you get the opportunity to listen. It's called Tall Tales of 10 Girls, and if you click on the interactive album part of their website, you'll be amazed by what they can do in terms of setting you up an individual album that you can enjoy. So please do go and check it out. In terms of those player connections, we always pick out 4. So my 4 for this one are Matt Hill. Matt Hill started his career at Bristol City and he went on to play over 200 times for his hometown club before departing them in the mid-noughties. He then found himself at Sheffield United during our long and torrid time in League One, but he did establish himself as a committed player, somebody who always gave his best in the red and white. He played, I think, 88 games for United before he then departed for Tranmere, and he was always a player who we wished the best. Beyond that, we've got Kasper Lepata. He actually started his youth career with Bristol City. His family moved there when he was just 9 years old, and he went all the way through the Bristol City Academy programme before leaving for Brighton and eventually ending up at Sheffield United. Another youth starlet who's a potentially forgotten potential star out of the Blades Academy, Diego Di Girolamo. He spent some time at Bristol City after leaving Sheffield United after his massive injury troubles. But again, he never actually made a senior appearance for Bristol City. So yeah, I have massively stretched the definition of what played for both could possibly mean, because I picked 2 players who never actually played for Bristol City, but they were there. There'll be a picture somewhere of them in a shirt. Let's just say that counts because I was running low for this one, but the last 2 definitely played for both. He's going to end on a high note because he's a Sheffield United player who I absolutely loved. He was there when I was a kid and he wasn't always the best, but he always gave his all and he always stood out to me. That is, of course, John Stead. I say, of course, as if any single person would have guessed it when I first started talking. John Stead spent 3 years at United, but only actually really played in 2 of them, 1 in the Premier League and 1 in the Championship, where he got 8 goals in 39 appearances. Later in his career, he ended up at Bristol City, where he spent 3 seasons and got 20 goals in 79 games, roughly 1 in 4 for both clubs, which isn't a bad record, especially when you're looking at sort of a journeyman striker and one who I loved for his commitment. So, finally, score predictions. What's going to happen in this game? If you want your score prediction to be read out as part of our match previews, please do go and join our Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Sheff United Way, where you can get a whole host of benefits, including a fantastic group chat where we're always talking about United, talking about football. And it's just a really great place to be. So please do go and check it out, as it really helps us with everything that we want to do and how we want to keep producing fantastic videos for you all to enjoy. But what do they know about football? There's a chance they don't know anything. I think they know quite a lot. Ant says that United are going to win 1-0. Callum has agreed with Ant. He also thinks United are going to win 1-0. And even the boss himself, the gaffer in good nick, he's gone for 1-0. So there's quite a big contingent there. I think United are going to edge a tight game and keep going with our fantastic defensive record. Hal has gone a little bit more adventurous. He's looked at our last 2 games. He's gone, yeah, I like it when we win 2-0, and he thinks we're going to do exactly the same again, 2-0 to the Blades. Whereas Paul, I think Paul's taken leave of his senses, but maybe Paul is a visionary that we just can't get on his level at this stage. He thinks United are going to win 4-0, despite Bristol City's home form and their long unbeaten run. James has gone for 3-1. It's a risky prediction. He thinks that Michael Cooper will actually concede a goal, which seems unlikely to me, but that's what James is saying is going to happen. Ewan is going to step further than that. He thinks that Michael Cooper will concede a goal, but United will only get one themselves, and he's gone for a draw. Out of those, if I'm being honest, I think this one's going to be a draw. I would say 0-0. I don't think United will concede, but I think we'll find it really difficult to break down Bristol City, particularly at Ashton Gate. They've got a decent record there this season. I've mentioned they've not lost at home. They have drawn 4 of their 6 games. So they're a team who are really struggling to take advantage and win games, but they do not get beaten very often. So I'm going to say that they're going to stick to that. It's going to be a draw. It's going to finish 0-0. Now, thank you everybody so much for watching and listening to this match preview. Let's hope we can keep on rolling, and let's hope we go into next weekend with as much momentum and as many points as possible. We have got a very special match preview coming your way next Wednesday when myself, Hal and Nick get together to preview the big derby game. And so please do come and join us for that, as I think it'll be a really enjoyable conversation and a really enjoyable way to get hyped up for the derby. But before that, we've got to go out. We've got to beat Bristol City. The most important game is the one in front of us. So let's go and get another 3 points. Up the Blades.